Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1998 Ford Explorer Sport. Up front is a 4.0 liter V6, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Ford Explorer because it is a 4-wheel drive manual 2-door Explorer, and back home in Chicago, you don't see these anymore. They've all rusted away or had engine failure, as we'll talk about here in a second. But because I am here in California, I actually get to experience a clean second-gen Ford Explorer. And to prove my point about how crazy California is, this is a random street parked, not in the best condition, but Mercury Mountaineer of the same generation. Wild. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 4-liter V6 under the hood. Well, there were 3 engines offered here for the second generation Ford Explorer: a 4-liter V6, a 4-liter V6, and a 5-liter V8. No, I did not stutter, nor did I accidentally edit the video to say something twice. There were 2 different 4-liter V6s, and the distinction is actually very, very important. Son of a bitch! There's a second Ford Explorer, second gen. How? So this is the base V6. It makes 160 horsepower, and it's an overhead valve engine. It's known as the Cologne V6. This of the 2 engines is actually the one that you want this day and age, because the second 4-liter V6 was a single overhead cam V6, and yeah, it made 45 more horsepower, but they have very significant timing chain guide issues, and they are catastrophic. So most, if not all, of those engines have gone kaput. So this is actually reliable. Now, of course, there was the 5-liter V8 that's also going to be reliable and make a lot more power, but you couldn't find that in the manual. And so if you wanted the stick shift, find the overhead valve Cologne V6. Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual transmission, and it's amazing because it was developed by Mazda. So Mazda was partially owned by Ford in this era, and the first gen Explorer was actually rebadged as a Mazda Navajo, which I would love to find, but this actually uses a Mazda manual transmission. The automatic was a Ford. This is actually a Mazda piece. So my Mazda boy fandom gets to show a little bit here today in the Ford Explorer. Last but not least about the drivetrain, this is 4-wheel drive. So it is a 4-wheel drive manual coupe Explorer. What an amazing, amazing sentence. How does it feel to drive the manual coupe 4-wheel drive Explorer? It actually drives great. The transmission itself is kind of trucky, kind of has that longer throw, which is definitely to be expected. Nothing new there. But visibility is good, ride quality is good. I think the big chunky tires really help that out. And while it does say sport at the back, I wouldn't categorize this as a particularly sporty vehicle, but it does have some agility to it. Definitely more agility than what we would find in today's modern SUV market. Well, you can't even find modern 2-door SUVs, so the market doesn't even really exist anymore. But there is something to be said about kind of a tall, stubby Explorer, and I really like it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 6 gauges. Off to the left is a coolant temperature and fuel. In the center is a tachometer and speedometer. And off to the right, we have our oil pressure and battery voltage. On the steering wheel, we do get cruise control options. Very, very nice to get and see that. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent, headlight switch, and our panel dimmer switch. Moving on to the door, we have our power mirrors up top, and then down below we have lock and unlock and our power windows. Moving into the center, this is an aftermarket piece. Obviously, this does have like wireless Apple CarPlay and things like that. It is not original to this Explorer, but down below that we get the 2 climate control vents. We get our 4-wheel drive settings for auto, for high, and for low. We get our rear wiper and rear defrost off to the right. aftermarket radio in the center, and our climate controls down below. Then we do get our ashtray and cigarette lighter. Both can open on their own, and we have the shifter in the center. So around the shifter, we do get a nice little bezel that does incorporate a cup holder. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the two-door Explorer, and it fails here because of height. The width of the bottle actually fits perfectly, but because the dashboard comes out, it actually blocks the big friggin' bottle. However, moving into the actual center console, we have more cup holders, and these don't have a height restriction, so the rear cup holder does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. So moving back to the shifter is tall and mighty. It looks very economy. The shift boot is very flimsy and rubbery, to be expected out of a vehicle like this. I'm just happy that it has a manual, so I'm not going to complain. But moving back to the center console, we do have coin holders, obviously cup holders, and a center console, which is sort of hidden under the armrest. I kind of like that look. The seats are comfortable and they are power. They are so incredibly 90s. I absolutely love them. I feel like these seats came right out of a straight to VHS movie. It is just so good, so nostalgic. I want to curl up in a ball and read The Hungry, Hungry Caterpillar in this, or just relive my childhood is what I'm trying to say. However, speaking of seats, unfortunately for me, even though this is a four-wheel drive coupe SUV, we still do have back seats. So let's try to weasel our way back there. All right, it is time to get into the back of the coupe. Push here and you can pull it forward, actually a pretty fair amount. That's as far forward as it will go. That's a good amount. I'm actually feeling a little bit better about this. In we go. All right, I'm in the back of a two-door Ford Explorer. I have yet to say that sentence, and I'm very happy that I've been able to now. It's not bad back here. So the owner actually left the seat like this so I can demonstrate. This comes up, the seat back comes up, and then the bottom actually folds down, and they are connected by a rod. And so they kind of look like those like marionette dolls as they move together, but that is actually how you fold them down. Very, very cool to see that. I fit like sitting up straight, even with my sunglasses on my head. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. I fit back here really, really well. While getting in is way less graceful than it would be with a four-door, once I'm back here, I don't mind at all. This is great. This is super easy. I would totally go on an adventure in the back of one of these Explorers and not really think twice about it until I have to get out. If we're like in and out, if I'm doing like deliveries, yeah, I'm not riding back here. But I would definitely ride back here on a road trip or to the beach or whatever. Like, that's totally fine. I love this. So incredibly cool. But let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. But this is what the back, or the second row of a coupe Ford Explorer is. All right, around the back of the two-door Ford Explorer, we do have a big button here, and that will actually open up the rear glass. So we do get openable rear glass. Absolutely love when SUVs do this. So huge. Helps access the rear quite a bit. We'll close that up, but then we have a big release handle here, and you can open up the entire rear tailgate, of course. So once we are back here, nothing really too crazy to write home about. Some storage options on the left and the right. Underneath the carpet, don't get anything. We get some tie-down hooks, but that's it. Like no secret spare or anything like that, because spare tire is under there. So that's where the spare tire is found. Max tongue load, bumper capacity. Very cool to see stuff like that. Very simple grab handle just to pull it back down. No like, little cave to put your hand in or anything like that. Pull it right back down. And there you go. That's what's around the back of a 98 Ford Explorer. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I really, really like the look of this, mainly because it is the two-door. I am not a huge coupe fan. I would say 9 out of 10 vehicles that I look at that have a 4 and 2-door variant, I always pick the 4-door. I think it's more practical. I think it's proportioned usually a little bit better. I'm going to break that mold here today with the coupe. I think the 2-door Ford Explorer actually looks better. And I like the smoothness of it. Ford was deep into their round era by the end of the 1990s. I recently drove that 1999 Ford Taurus, and if you thought this had round features, take a look at that blobby behemoth. But I like the overall design of it. Again, very subtle, very reserved. That was sort of the thing in the 90s and 2000s, not very flashy. That's kind of what the Mercury was able to do, and Lincoln was starting to get like the Aviator and Navigator, so they kind of let those do the talking. The Ford Explorer was just a handsome automobile for people. And I have to say, I personally like it a lot. I think it works well. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the manual coupe Ford Explorer four-wheel drive? Well, this has been an absolute treat. I love this Explorer. Again, like I say in a lot of reviews of vehicles of this era, everything is straight and to the point. It doesn't feel like this is an art installation. It doesn't feel like Ford was really trying to design the next hot thing. It just works really, really well. All the buttons are laid out so I can see them easily from my driving position. You'd be shocked at how many modern cars have hidden necessities. In the Toyota Tacoma, it took me a while to find the hazard switch, which is very important. It's honest, it's straight to the point, and this is just a bygone era. Not only do we not get coupe SUVs anymore, we don't get manual SUVs anymore. Everything is about maximizing your family potential. Every SUV built these days is built just in case you might have to take the entire soccer team home. That is like the mindset for most vehicles. The Explorer nowadays is a 3-row SUV, and it is meant to fit you and 5 other people at minimum. Sometimes 6, sometimes 7. But this wasn't about that. This was about having a good time for a smaller group of people. And sometimes I like that. I am an extrovert. If that doesn't come through in the videos, first of all, I don't know how it wouldn't, but I'm an extrovert. And how it's been explained to me is that extroverts recharge their battery by being around people, by being social. And introverts recharge their battery by being home and being on their own. And so to me, I always try to invite as many people as I can to do as many things as I can. I always like big group activities. But sometimes it's nice to just have that core friend or two to go with you. Those 2 ride or die friends that you have. And that's the sort of experience that this vehicle gives me. I'm not trying to truck around the whole soccer team. I'm not trying to carry lumber and drive so many large SUV things. I don't have to fit a mattress in here. I'm not trying to use this as a faux U-Haul truck. It doesn't have to do everything. This is a little bit more of a personal vehicle. I like 4-wheel drive. I like going on adventures. Maybe I'll bring someone with me. Maybe I'll bring 2 people with me, and that's it. And that is a really, really nice number. Some of my favorite memories in the world have been with just 1 or 2 other people, not the giant group settings. And so that's the difference in feeling between the older SUVs like this and the newer SUVs. The newer SUVs try to include every single person and their mom in a seat with heat and screens and buttons. But this, it doesn't need that fluff. You need 2 people with you and you can conquer the world. And I feel like I can conquer the world here in the 98 Ford Explorer. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Victor for letting me borrow his Ford Explorer. What an amazing treat this has been. Victor has been wonderful. Everyone down here in San Diego has been absolutely wonderful. Please check out the Analog and Grit Social Club in San Diego. It's a car club that is absolutely amazing, so breathtaking, and I'll leave their information down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.